Sup guys, Heeking here, bringing you another video discussion regarding potentially Resident Evil 9. So we got some new leaks from LutuxFix apparently, and yeah, we're going to go through them. Before I begin, remember to like and subscribe please, and yeah, let's get started. Now, before I go into the actual leaks, I just want to make an apology about the other video leak that I did. I did find out, literally a few hours after I posted the video, someone did some research and gave us some info about that leak being fake. This is the one regarding the video footage, you know, of the, the car going through the forest and that. So it was some news on Twitter called Project Apocalypse, and they were just taking footage from a cancelled game from years ago called Rebirth, I think, by, was it Knife Entertainment or Knife Studios? But a user posted the link to it. He described it. He was like, "No, this is fake. This is from this." And so yeah, I want to thank that person for, you know, giving me the info, and I want to apologize to everyone for me posting that video and thinking I did say that it could either be fake or it could be a different game, and someone has just played us along. But yeah, it's just kind of sad that has to happen. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't like posting fake crap and you know, finding out, oh yeah, this was 100% fake. I don't like doing that. You know, when I do these videos, I want there to be a bit of a grey matter, ambiguous element to it in terms of, okay, it could be real, it might not be. But to find out that straight away that, oh yeah, this is fake, yeah, it's like, okay, yeah. Like, it was a case of me trying to rush it and get the info out as soon as, instead of waiting to see. But yeah, I apologize for that in advance. But anyway, let's go through this. Let's go through the Lutus leaks, because there's some new stuff here to talk about, and I'm hoping this is legit. I really do. But as always, guys, remember to take this with a grain of salt, because it could end up being fake. So yeah, let's go through this then. Okay, so Lutus made a post a few days ago, and he said the following. A lot of you have been asking, so just a quick update. I'm gathering some info before posting anything. It's a bit more complicated this time since the testers aren't part of my usual friend group. I've got a coffee later and then game night, where two of this week's testers will be. Fingers crossed. Like I mentioned before, the playtesting team was different this time, and I wasn't involved myself, so I really appreciate your patience. So I'm curious how this works, how he gets these testers and is able to communicate with them. So I don't understand how he's meeting these people unless he's got, like he said, usual friend groups. So maybe he's got friends that tell him about these testers, about maybe they're in contact with them, so he gets in contact with them and that's how he meets them. I don't know how it works. I don't know how the life of a leaker works, unfortunately. So I'm very curious about that, which is again why I always say take this with a grain of salt. So he posted about yesterday, I believe. And he gave us a lot of info regarding this supposed testing. So we're going to go through it now. Leon playtest update. Hello, everyone. As I said, his English isn't very good sometimes, I feel like. Hello, everyone. As I said in previous posts, there were 2 playtests involving Leon this week. Here is some information I got from people who participated. The information is not very revealing, but it is all I have at the moment. I apologize for the delay in posting. The people involved are not close friends, and I did not participate this time. It was much harder to get this. Here we go. The test lasted 1 hour, apparently. The same criteria as the previous tests were applied here. Post-test questionnaire, etc. Interestingly, this time the playtest was carried out on PlayStation consoles, and the game is definitely working very well here. So I just want to add, if this was Dusk Golem, he'd probably be making up some bullshit about the PlayStation not accurately showcasing the game properly, and that Xbox is the better console. I'm not here to cause a console war crap, but if you guys remember some of his posts from a few years ago, where he was deliberately trying to say that, you know, that RE Village was not working properly on PlayStation, that he was trying to hype up the Xbox for whatever reason, this guy has a bit of a hate bone for Sony consoles, apparently. But yeah, if this is true, at least we got confirmation that, oh, it's working well on the PlayStation consoles. So there shouldn't be any case of him coming out in the future and be like, oh yeah, it didn't work on the PlayStation, guys. Yeah, see, I know, because, you know, I've got people who say, it's like, no, shut up. Moving on. The playtest is of a part of Leon's gameplay. In this part, the player is in a kind of city with rustic Asian features. Everything is very old, destroyed, and seems to have been abandoned a long time ago. The gameplay is in third person. That's very important to remember. The player can access the map in this demo, and it seems to have many places to explore, similar to the RE8 village. The playtester says it is at least 2 times bigger. So 2 times bigger than RE village. Okay, good to know. So it's a big map. Leon has a very similar appearance to the RE4 remake. No beard or extreme old age, just more mature features here. He wears an all-black tactical outfit and a dark blue vest. That sounds very similar to that leaked image we got of that RE9 game called the Shadow Revenant or whatever, Revenant Shadows or something. So either this is BS or this is legit and he actually wears that outfit. What's interesting here is that he says that it takes place in some kind of city with Asian features. Now, we already have the only thing we got from Dusk Golem was that the game supposedly takes place in the Southeast Asian Sea. So this already matches up with those very early rumors. The only rumor he posted that it takes place in some sort of Asian environment. Which makes me think that this game is going to go for an Asian horror type vibe. If RE7 was influenced by like Saw or Evil Dead, sort of like the American style horror games, like horror films, and RE8 was inspired by folklore American old classic horror films, you know, Dracula, Frankenstein, etc., etc. This one's going to be, RE9 seems to be more influenced by the Asian sort of horror films, you know? So very curious about that. A bit of a disappointment regarding Leon's age. I was hoping he would have a beard, especially if we're playing as old Leon, but that doesn't seem to be the case, unfortunately. It's a shame. I always like my characters when they start showing a bit of a, you know, mustache or beard. Moving on. Leon says at the beginning of the demo that the damn radio doesn't work, which suggests that he will communicate with someone during the campaign. The objective of the demo was to get a pair of pilers to access a house in the north of the map. The gameplay section has combat and zombies can be seen around the village. They are slow but deadly. Some have variants, and here is a very important detail. There are zombies with BSA tactical uniforms. Okay, so this kind of reminds me of the demos we've always gotten for like RE2 Remake and RE3 Remake. And did we technically get a demo for no, not really. We didn't. It was a very different kind of demo we got for RE7, and yeah, we did get a demo for RE8, but it didn't really involve us looking for pilots. But if you guys remember, like there were sort of similarities with RE2 and RE3 Remake. So I'm wondering if it's sort of a similar case here. So it's like sort of like the very early part of the game. I'm wondering if this is legit, you kind of have to wonder who Leon is communicating with. So it's either Hunnigan, or if one of the early rumors is to believe it's actually Barry Burter. So we got zombies. This confirms that there are zombies in the game, and that some of them are wearing BSA tactical uniforms. So if you guys remember the Jill leaks, Lutus said that in the Jill leaks, Jill was investigating an abandoned hospital that was potentially a BSA hospital doing experiments or research, and that was connected to the connections and Alex Wesker. And now we got like this village or Asian sort of village area, and there's like zombies with BSA tactical uniforms. So I guess this is tying into the ending of RE8, not the epilogue, the ending of RE8, where the BSA was sending these mysterious soldiers that were technically bioweapons dressed up in BSA outfits. So you kind of have to wonder what's going on there, because if this is true, then this confirms this is linking up the ending of RE8. So this is going to be a continuation of that plot. The weapons present in the demo are a pistol, a knife, a double-barreled shotgun, brutal damage, a smoke grenade, it works well now, and a machine gun. The inventory is similar to RE2 Remake, but has a lot more space. Leon runs at considerable speed and can kick enemies. The playtester noticed that all the writing on the walls seemed to be in Mandarin. Okay, so yeah, we got the usual weapons in here again. Smoke grenades. If you guys remember one of Lutus's previous posts, he mentioned that there was some sort of difficulty regarding smoke grenades. Like they couldn't get it to work properly the way they intended. Which kind of made me remember going back to RE4 Remake where they didn't have the incendiary grenades. Like why did they cut that out? And it kind of makes me wonder maybe this was the reason. Like the RE engine can't work properly when it maybe comes to certain effects or smoke effects. But we know smoke effects work because they had it in RE8 and that. So it's kind of a bit weird to say it didn't work. Or maybe it really did. Maybe maybe it was a big difficulty. But here it says it worked well. So clearly they fixed the issue. Inventory being similar to RE2 Remake. Yeah, I don't mind I like the inventory in RE2 Remake. I thought it was very well done. So I'm all for it, for them bringing that back. I like RE4's inventory as well. I do like the attaché case. But yeah, we're going to go with RE2 Remake, fine. Leon runs at considerable speed and can kick enemies. Okay, so this tells me they fixed one of the biggest issues of a Leon from RE4, which is that he sort of ran very slow. A lot of people did complain, and I did notice it as well that, yeah, Leon tends to run really, really slow somewhat in RE4 Remake compared to how he ran in the original RE4. You could feel there was some sort of slowness there. He can kick enemies. I'm wondering if this is similar to RE6's combat, where you can just press a button and Leon can kick enemies and that and hit enemies. So I'm wondering if this is similar to that. They're bringing that back. And the writing on the walls in the area seem to be in Mandarin. So again, this sort of reinforces the fact that Leon's environment takes place in an Asian environment. This, again, is the only thing that seems to back up the one leak that Duskgunner posted back like early last year. So it's the only thing he's really talked about. It's like, oh yeah, this takes place in a Southeast Agency and that's it. He hasn't elaborated on anything else. So this is the only thing that seems to back up that yes, we are going to be in some sort of Asian environment. Moving on. The environment is nocturnal and very dark. Grotesque zombies make everything even scarier. No snow here. Kind of a disappointment. I do like snow environments. I wish they would go more into that, but fair enough. The playtester tried to enter a factory south of the village for an iron door, but it was locked and had a DNA symbol on the door, indicating a special key. A DNA symbol. Imagine if this game ends up being called Resident Evil Helix instead. At the end of the demo, he faced an interesting creature, a zombie with a kind of black creature on its back, as if they were stuck together. It attacks in a coordinated manner and is very difficult to kill. Interesting. So we got some sort of new enemy here. Sounds very Ouroboros like the Ouroboros creatures from Resident Evil Revelations 2, because that sort of was like limbs attached, wasn't it? Mutated and that, so. Which actually, that would kind of make sense, wouldn't it? If they're maybe bringing back Ouroboros back, maybe, or an element of it, especially with like two creatures stuck together, because that would line up with Alex Wesker being in this, because Alex Wesker was making very grotesque creations and fusing people together. So you kind of have to wonder now, like, you know, think about that for a second. It is matching up, unless he's making stuff up. But this guy, you know, Lutus, made it very clear he wasn't really familiar with Alex Wesker. It didn't sound like he'd played Revelations 2. So unless he was lying, like, and he's just making this stuff up, or he's gone back and he's played Revelations 2 and now he's like, I'm going to add this stuff in there. I don't know. If this is legit, this sort of matches up with stuff we've had in Revelations 2. So, like, you kind of have to wonder, do you mean maybe if this is legit, this sort of matches up with his stuff with the Jill leaks, and that had, you know, he said that there was a Lady Wesker mentioned, so, and this just reminds me of the creations that Alex Wesker did, so you kind of have to wonder now, you know, it's starting to match up now. Do you mean the other leaks and this leaks are starting to like come together now? The demo ends when Leon gets the pilers. Obviously, he said that the main goal of this test was the gameplay mechanics. The post playtest questionnaire gives a lot of emphasis to this. Okay. Note: it was very difficult to extract this information because, according to the playtester, everything happened very quickly, and this is the most he can remember. No mention of Jill. It doesn't seem like the same place where the hospital demo takes place. This left me very intrigued. I thought that the gameplay of Leon would be very similar to the playtest of Jill, and it definitely seems very opposite. Thanks for reading. Okay, so no mention of Jill. A lot of people are going to start like reading this and be like, oh, so Jill's not in the game. First off, when Lutus made his first post, his very first post, majority of his early leaks, if they are leaks, he said that Jill was the playable character and that it took place in a hospital environment. And he said that Leon was not mentioned once in these playtests. There was no mention of Leon in these playtests. The last leak he did before this one, about, I believe early this year. I think it was early this year. It was literally early this year. he revealed that he found out from one of the playtesters that Leon was in the game. And this was because of like an image or something that he saw that confirmed that he was in the game. So Leon was not mentioned in Jill's campaign, and Jill is not mentioned in Leon's campaign. So you kind of have to wonder if he is legit, then we have an RE game here that is 2 times bigger than RE Village. Technically, it might be 3 or 4 times bigger because you got to consider the fact that this game seems to have 2 campaigns. One where you play as Jill and one where you play as Leon. However, these campaigns seem to take place very early on and none of them reference the other. So you kind of have to wonder, are these campaigns going to cross over eventually in towards the very end? Or is this going to be a game where you play as one character and you get their POV and then you play as another? And maybe, food for thought, there's a third playable character in this, and this is how the game's going to sort of link up in the third act. It's like you play this, you play that, it comes together, and then you play it as a third character. In this case, the only character I could think of would logically be Chris. So maybe this game's going to do a lot. Do you know what I mean? It's going to do a lot, like... It's going to be like a very fan servicey game in terms of what characters are going to come back and what characters you're going to play as. That's what I'm thinking, maybe. Because if they're keeping Joe hidden in the Leon test and they're keeping Leon hidden in the Jill test, you kind of have to wonder what's going on here. And how is it going to work if they do cross over? Like, because this game's not going to have co-op. It doesn't sound like this game has co-op, so... But, more food for thought. So this is definitely intriguing. Like I said, it does sort of match up with the early rumors we had. Very early rumors. So yeah, if this is indeed legit, it sounds like a very interesting RE game where we get to play as Jill and Leon. And we know that Chris, again, if this is true, we know that Chris is going to be the guide that Jill's going to be talking to. You kind of have to wonder who the guide for Leon is. Like, very, very early rumors said it was Barry, because supposedly there were other playtests where people played as Leon, and they were like, Leon is talking to Barry, so you kind of have to wonder if that's legit or not. Because if Alex Wesker is in it, the one character that makes sense to bring back for that would be Barry. So, again, you have to wonder. Sorry if I'm sounding a bit weird, guys. I've got a cold, by the way. So, sorry if I'm... Give me a sec. Yeah, I've not been feeling very well the past few days. Really sucks. But yeah, this got me excited. This has gotten me really excited because it's like... It feels like they looked at the criticism of Leon in RE4 Remake. And don't get me wrong, I love RE4 Remake. I think, to me, it's my favorite Resident Evil game they've done. It's a masterpiece, okay? It's almost a masterpiece, with few exceptions, like Ada's voice actor and that. But other than that, I do love RE4 Remake. And it seems they've taken the criticisms to heart. It sounds like they've made Leon faster. And it sounds like they added the RE6 melee element to it, where you can like just press a button and Leon will kick or melee an enemy. If you guys remember the leak for Jill's campaign, it said that Jill didn't have melee attacks. So I'm wondering if this is them trying to separate the different campaigns, or maybe eventually, because here's the thing. If this game has 2 campaigns, I don't want both campaigns to feel similar. I would want both campaigns to be very different. This was the biggest issue, at least for me, when it came to RE6. All 4 campaigns felt pretty much the bloody same in terms of characters and their movements. Yeah, Jake, had the hand-to-hand, and Leon could, like, dual wield, but that's such a small thing, If you're gonna do multiple campaigns, each campaign should stand apart, and each campaign should, at least when it comes to the characters and the movesets, it should feel very, very different. Like, Leon should be able to use the knife, like in RE4, to parry, and he should be able to kick. Fine. Jill should be able to dodge, in my opinion. Like, if you're going to add, like, if you're going to give something to someone, Jill should be, like, the dodge character, So, I'm hoping that's how they're going to differentiate it. You play as this character, that's how they move. You play as this character, that's how they're going to move. It would sort of bring it back to the very first Resident Evil game. If you remember the very, very, very first Resident Evil game from 1996, depending on which character you picked, that would be the difficulty setting for the game. So if you played as Jill first, Jill was very slow, and she was weaker. Like, she wasn't very strong. But she had the most inventory space, and she had the best weapons in the game, getting the bazooka and such. With Chris, he had less inventory space, and he got the more suckier weapons. Unfortunately, you know, you only had the handgun and the shotgun. You could get a flamethrower, but it's not really powerful. But Chris was stronger. He could take more hits, and he ran fast as well. And I think because he was also like the marksman, he had more of a chance of, you know, taking, like, getting headshots in maybe. But I'm not really sure about that one. But I'm hoping that's kind of what they try and do when it comes to this, because this sounds really this sounds like an RE game that I want, like in terms of this is how you progress it. You know, they're sort of looking at the best RE games. They're looking at RE2 remake, they're looking at RE4 remake, and they're basically trying to give you that experience at the same time with each character. That's what it sounds like to me. I'm hoping this is true. I really do. But we'll have to wait and see, guys. We'll have to wait and see. In terms of when this game's going to be revealed, I am sticking with the June theory. If we're lucky, maybe May. But for now, I'm thinking this game's going to get revealed in June. We're going to get some sort of state of play or PS showcase. Now, whether that's early or not, I don't know, because it's very likely this game could be revealed at Summer Game Fest instead. But none of the RE games have ever been revealed at Summer Game Fest. They've always been revealed at a PlayStation event or a state of play. So I'm hoping it's one of those. I'm really hoping. Fingers crossed. Anyway, guys, that's my, news on this. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, remember to like and subscribe. Remember to take this with a grain of salt, because this could end up being BS. I hope it's not. I hope this is legit. But, we won't know until this game's revealed. I am expecting a reveal in June. 2 months to go, guys. 2 months to go. We're nearly there. We're nearly there. We gotta hold out. We're nearly there. Anyway, guys. Take care and bye. And I shall see you when I shall see you.